Hi guys, this is Shawaku7. I'm in my basement gym. And if you've been following my recent videos, then you know I've talked about the three fundamental laws of strength training, which are, number one, that strength training revolves around adaptation, and that you will adapt one way or the other, whether you choose to exercise or not. If you choose to exercise, you can guide the adaptation because your body will thicken the muscle fibers and create more muscle cells, more mitochondria and capillary density, as well as bone density. And you will have increased muscular endurance, size, and strength. But if you choose not to exercise, the body will eliminate muscle cells and capillary density and bone density and mitochondria because it doesn't need it. So as the old saying goes, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. So if you want to retain your current muscular endurance, size, and strength, and even more if you want to increase it, then you need to exercise. The second fundamental law of strength training is that muscular overload is needed to induce adaptation. And what I mean by muscular overload, I mean more than progressive resistance. Because progressive resistance means you're just increasing the amount of resistance that your muscles have to overcome, which may or may not be enough to stimulate your body to adapt. And there are many different types of muscular overload, which includes by load, or using more weight, or by volume, more reps and sets, or by velocity, doing reps explosively fast or more slowly, which makes it more difficult, or by time, which are static holds and pauses, or by elasticity, using resistance bands and bungee cords, and many other methods, because there are more than one way to create muscular overload, and I've discussed this in previous videos. And then the third law of strength training has to deal with muscular accommodation, that if you do the same exercises, the same reps and sets and load and intensity too long, the body will not adapt, and your muscular endurance, size, and strength gains will come to a halt. I've discussed how to avoid this in previous videos, but it basically is changing the load or changing the exercises or strength training methods. But there's also a fourth fundamental law of strength training, and it has to deal with recovery. That if you do not have adequate recovery, then your performance gains will also stop, and it can lead to overtraining, exhaustion, injury, and collapse. More is not better when it comes to strength training. That you want to stimulate your body to adapt. You do not want to overtrain. And recovery is more than just training too much. It also involves not getting adequate nutrition or adequate sleep. So in addition to the problem of muscular accommodation, there's also the problem of inadequate recovery. And it is possible to have too much training, where you're overtrained, which can be complicated if you're getting inadequate nutrition, if you're not getting sufficient protein to build muscle, or if you're not getting enough sleep. And what I mean by sleep, I mean quality sleep. That it's important to make sure that you're consuming enough protein where you can build muscle, and that you're not subjecting your body to too much stress, and that you are getting an adequate amount of sleep, of quality sleep. Because if you lack any of these things, it can result in inadequate recovery. and where your performance gains and your muscular endurance, size, and strength will decrease, and can also lead to possible injury, exhaustion, and collapse. I've been working out for 55 years, and just recently I've overtrained, and I've taken an extra couple of days off just to give my body enough time to rest and to recover from some heavy workout sessions I've been doing. So what's important to remember is that training doesn't have to follow a fixed schedule. I try to work out every other day, but it's not necessary to work out every other day, especially if you've been overtraining. And the solutions to overtraining is, one, taking additional days off and just resting and making sure that you're getting adequate nutrition. And the general guideline is to consume at least 1 gram of protein for every pound of body weight. But sometimes you'll see even higher recommendations, as much as 1.25 grams of protein for every pound of body weight, or even 2 grams of protein for every pound of body weight. I wouldn't go above 1 because too much protein is hard on your kidneys. But every person is different, so that's something that you have to find out on your own. But my advice is 1 gram of protein for every pound of body weight. I mean, if you're trying to be a bodybuilder and get as much size as you possibly can, then going 2 grams of protein per every pound of body weight or more might be conducive to that. But my goal is to live longer. My goal isn't to be a bodybuilder. I'm not trying to get the most size. What I'm trying to do is become healthier and to extend my lifespan. Another possible solution is to have a lighter workout. I have a total gym, so if I train too heavy, I can always switch to my total gym because I'm using fractional body weight. And if you train to failure a lot, like I do, then you can decrease or suspend training to failure and just do sets of 10. But doing a lighter workload is a good solution to deal with the problem of overtraining. And you become stronger not through exercise, but from recovery from exercise. That adaptation doesn't take place when you work out. Adaptation takes place while you're sleeping. So it is very important to get enough quality sleep, adequate nutrition so that your body will have the nutrients to build more muscle with. Also to have a stimulating muscular overload, but not overload that will cause your muscles to collapse or rupture or tear. Chapter 9 of Vladimir Zasiorski's book, Science and Practice of Strength Training, is on overreaching, overtraining, and recovery. The book, The Barbell Prescription, also talks about overtraining, as does Tommy Kono's book, Weightlifting Olympic Style. And even Earl Lindemann talks about it in his book, Secrets of Strength. But what Tommy Kono said, many times the trainee feels that a little bit is good, so more would be better. Let me state that it's far better to do just enough to stimulate development than to go overboard and burn yourself out. Earl Lindemann says on page 164 of his book, Secrets of Strength, if after your exercise, your bath, and your rub down, you feel fit to battle for a kingdom, then your schedule is right. If on the contrary, your exercise so exhausts you that it is hours before you feel again brisk, then the work is too heavy, and you must either take a rest or either reduce the severity and amount of the exercise. Progressive exercise is positively the only road to great strength, but after all is said, the important thing is not the way the schedule progresses, but the way you progress. So it all boils down to the same thing, is that if you feel that you're overtrained, and if you feel that your exercise is drudgery, then you need to take more rest, and you need more quality sleep, and you have to make sure that you're getting adequate nutrition. And by doing these things, you can avoid overtraining, and you can adapt. Because if you have inadequate recovery, it can lead to exhaustion, injury, overtraining, and collapse. And if you get an injury, it can keep you from exercising for weeks, months, years, here on out. Okay, that's all for this video. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when I create and upload more YouTube videos. And as always, thanks for watching.